Good evening. My name is Venus Scott, and I have a guest with me today, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Greetings, my name is Haroon. I'm from Southside Together Organized for Power and Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
Okay. And we are the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub. Our email address is wrjhub@gmail.com. Today, basically, we want to talk about is try to touch a little bit more on gentrification. I want to talk a bit regarding gentrification. And we know that over the years, our community had been going through a period of cleansing in the community. So if you will, give me your perspective on today's gentrification.
I just want to take you back a little bit to let you know a little bit about the community I'm from, Woodlawn. Was a vibrant community. We used to have a library right there on my block, 6200 block of Kimbark. We had a basketball court. At the beginning of Block 61st in Kimbark, it was a big field. When I was young, we used to go and play baseball, football, a lot of sports activities for the youth used to take place in that field. The church, Mother York Church, she did a lot. She fed the community, did a lot, programs, helped brothers get trades and things like that. But you slowly started to see the grocery store that was on the corner disappeared. The library was demolished and moved out of the community, and instead of preserving the building to have something productive for the community use as a community center, that was demolished. The basketball court is no longer there. They took that down. Right where I used to play in the big field, baseball, football, now the University of Chicago has placed a soccer field there where, the community can't use it. It's off limits to us now, big gate around it. And so this is how gentrification started off. They start to take resources out the community. But there is a bit of racism in it too, because they want to demonize certain people in the community so their voices won't be heard in the development of the community. So it's a need to push them out. And that's how things begin to rapidly go from racism and to ethnic cleansing, as you mentioned earlier. I wanted to talk about that. When you add the degree of the police shootings, the police killings, now you are beginning to kill off the African American people in this community. For example, you would say that if you in Hyde Park up north, you see people hanging out, having a nice time in their space, they having fun, they partying. But if you see too many African American people doing it on the south side, you call it loitering.
Exactly.
They frame things in a way to kind of demonize the people, like you're breaking the law, you're loitering, and you're just hanging out doing the same thing every other citizen in this country do.
Exactly. Now you mentioned about how with gentrification that process began as they start eliminating and removing resources in the community. One of the things I've noticed this summer alone is that there's a lack of summer programs this year, a lack of summer jobs. So which means now our youth, are hanging out on the streets, have no place to go, and if their parents are working, it leaves our children open to hit the streets and get into mischief, if you will, or opportunity for a gang to recruit them. One of the things that I think is really sad at this point, because of the lack of summer program, is the funding, the lack of funding on the state level. You know, what the governor is doing, I don't know, but I know that the governor family would never feel the poverty, the pressure of life as our black community would feel. Is feeling it right now. You know, yes, the grants that we receive from the state are little, peanuts compared to other neighborhoods and neighborhoods who are flourishing with income, upper income status. But when the governor had put a hold on state funding, now our children have no summer programs. You can't deal with the park district because now park district has increased in their fees, and if you have more than one child, you ain't gonna be able to afford the park district. So now that leave our children on the streets, where the so-called recruiters, they become their employers. They're the one that's doing the employing right now. So talk to me a little bit about, I know with the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub, and I know that one of their main function is trying to basically get our young, particularly our young people and our young men up off the streets, and get them into something positive. What are some of the positive aspects that you see as one of the mentors in the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub?
I see a lot of real bright, very creative youth, intelligent youth. The youth so intelligent, they don't even want to go to school because they feel that the education system has failed them. And this is what they said. It don't teach them cultural diversity. It teaches them that everything about you is wrong. That they still running down this whole Christopher Columbus game, came and discovered America and civilized. If it wasn't for if it was for the Europeans to come over to take the Africans out of Africa and bring them here, they helped civilize them and they brought them this great religion and things like that. So they are beginning to reject these things in the education system. Some of them said, hey, we're making money out here on the streets, so why would I sit in the classroom, for all these years to get a degree and go and work for someone else, for some peanuts. And these are just some of the issues that they explained to me, and I really feel where they coming from a lot of times.
So do you feel that there's this generation of this great rebellions rising up? And if so, is this great rebellion in a positive way? Or is this great rebellion of our younger generation is only the beginning to their end?
It can go either way. Sometimes it takes something big to happen for peace to come about and a change. But you look at the history of America, they're not afraid to eliminate what they feel is a threat. 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma, they bombed the African American people in the thriving community. You see it again and with the organization Move in West Philly, I believe that was in 1985. They bombed a whole neighborhood. I mean, boom, blew it up. So if you rebel, I guess that is a message, you know, that they sending, that they won't hesitate to bomb you, to blow you up. But they have to be more creative and constructive in the way they rebel. You know, you got to steady challenge the judicial system, the way the system. You have to challenge the system because you can't win with violence. You know, fire doesn't put out fire.
So the group that is protesting Black Lives Matter, how would you see this particular group as it relate to restorative justice for this generation?
I think Black Lives Matter, they are raising a lot of awareness out there with our youth. They trying to get many as involved as possible. They sparking that flame that dwindled away from the 60s, and they rekindling that flame, you know, and hopefully that can lead our youth to get more educated, to seek other sources of information, and to educate themselves on certain issues that can help them prosper in life.
Okay.
And I don't mean materialism.
Well, see, then that brings another piece, because this younger generation is all about materialistic, and although we know that it takes money to live, money to survive, but how can you get the younger generation to also understand that there is also something that's much more than money that they need to harvest and cherish, such as integrity, such as honor among family, because it seems as if this younger generation seemed to have forgotten, if not don't have a clue about the importance of family name, the importance of a good name, the importance of integrity. So, and when we talk about Black Lives Matter, how can we convey it to our youth, that, you know, people going to see you the way you see yourself, or the way you portray yourself?
Exactly. I think that's where we are at a disconnect with our youth and our elders. You know, the youth want us to understand them, and the elders is sometimes like, yo, I'm not trying to understand you. I want to hear that. This the way things go. This the way I was raised. This the way it should be now. And I think we gotta encourage more dialogue between our youth and our elders, so that they can find some kind of common ground, because we live in the age where we live in a global society now, with the internet, cell phones, everything. So the media and this technology is having a lot of influence on our youth, and more so in the media, these stereotypes and negative imagery are perpetuated of the African American people. So it's unfortunate that some of our youth buy into this type of stereotypes, and that's a problem. So sometimes we need to get things back family oriented, to the dinner table. Have dinner together with your family. Have a good conversation. Don't just let your child get the meal
and go
sit
to
there
the room
in front of the TV and eat.
Exactly.
Watching the MTV, the BET, and everything like this, and don't be afraid to discuss these things that they are observing with each other. You got to have that dialogue, open that dialogue up.
Right. Again, this is the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub. If you have any comments or questions, you can give us a call at area code 312-738. I'm sorry, I have a glare here. 1000.
1060.
I'm sorry, 1060.
That's right.
Again, this is the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub, and our email address is wrjhub@gmail.com. One of the things that I also wanted to touch on a bit is that we know that crime has gone up. I was reading in a Sun Time where they talked about this year alone, crime has increased is up by 13%, and it seems like that it is increasing every year. What do you see? Do you see any relations among our youth who get themselves involved in crime, and shootings and murders? Is it because they lack some type of self-discipline, or
it can be a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons is good mentorship. That's why the Restorative Justice Program in Woodlawn is doing wonderful. We're able to engage with the youth, bring them out of the comfort zone, as you would say, of standing on those corners. That's their comfort zone. They standing on a corner on a block that they feel comfortable because of lack of resource. It's a lot of restlessness, anxiety. They can't eat. We trying to eat. We trying to feed ourselves. Plus we are experiencing another aspect of it through technology. You gotta form an internet gangbanging as well. So and that's something we need to touch on. But I want to get back to the this mentorship thing. It's just that they need guidance. I do have like a fragrance business that I started maybe about 10 years ago, and I make soap and other products, shea butter, some of the best in the world. But I started to have some of the young guys around me so they can see how I make a living sometime, and that's just one of the things I do as a hobby. I make some money, and sometimes they see, hey, this brother making more money than us, and we standing out here ducking bullets all day. I just try to expose them to something different, something new. That's what it's about. Marcus Gill, he has a dust and cleaning service. He always take the youth out and get them involved, teach them how to work a job. Some of these youth never worked a job in their life, or they would never probably get hired by a lot of people. My brother, he has a construction company. He hires a lot of them. He teaching them skills, how to paint, drywall, frame, gut buildings, and they can make money while they doing it. And a lot of them, they don't want to be in the streets because they know that it's leading to jail time. It's leading to death.
How do you pull them off the street, especially the ones that you know that don't want to be there, and they have verbalized that if there was something else better than this, I would do it. I would get off the street. But how do you pull them off the street and they buck against it? But now all the time they telling you they don't want to be on the street, but then when you try to pull them in and show them something different, it's like, I don't.
Well, you got a lot of religious institutions who got their door open, and that's the question that everybody want to know. How do you get them off the street? Because they got their door open and just hoping they're going to come walking in there someday, and that's not the case. So you got to go on the street to get them off the street. You got to go down there with them. You got to sit there with them, and then you can begin a dialogue with them. See what it is they want, see what it is they need. Like I said, some of them hungry, they just want something to eat. They're not gonna listen to nobody if their stomach is growling. They listening to their stomach growl. So first, sometimes you gotta address basic needs with people, and then you can sit down and begin to let's go somewhere and talk. Some of them never been off their block, never been out their neighborhood. I went and had some of them go with me. I had to make a run to Chinatown. They were like, wow, looking at the buildings over here. They thought they was in China. You never been in Chinatown before? Some of them never been downtown, And it's unfortunate that the street organizations play a big role, and that's why that funding is so important, because the youth over here cannot go to a program over here in a different neighborhood. You almost need a program in each and every neighborhood. Right. And that's where the funding really needs to be there. It really needs to be there.
Okay, so now we're stuck with no funding in certain neighborhoods. Okay, Southside neighborhood basically. Okay, so how can we as residents of the South Side generate some funding or try to get something to stabilize our community and our youth?
Well, sometimes I did a little research and looked up that yes, some funding that went somewhere, but it didn't reach the people it should have reached. So what we doing now is we organizing grassroots. We getting a community together. We're taking account of all the voices. And just like this Obama library is coming up,
quickly here.
We want a community benefits agreement. We want a community benefits agreement with the Obama library. We don't want the community to get pushed out. We want to see the Obama library, but we want jobs. We want 70% of the jobs going to the youth. We really need to have a big influence on the jobs that go through and the housing with this Obama library that's coming and the revenue sharing.
Exactly.
So we can help our community.
Again, we're just about out of time. Again, this is the Woodlawn Restorative Justice Hub, WRJ Hub at gmail.com. We ask that you tune in to us next week, as we will try to continue on certain issues. And then again, we'd like to thank you.